All right, good afternoon. Today is October 12th, 2021, and we had a range day today. As you can see, most of the morning, prices were being held. We found support along the midline of the overnight highs and lows. And then towards the end of the morning, prices broke through that, and yeah, so that's what we're looking at. Just a range day. Some really good moves in here, and you could have gotten in on a few of these good moves. This one you could have gotten in on. I rode that thing all the way down. You could make the argument for this one. Definitely could have gotten in right here, and you definitely could have gotten in on this one too. I don't think you could have gotten in on this, unfortunately. What about this? Yeah, this uptrend you probably could have taken, and then this one. So, unfortunately, right here, probably I would guess that's like the trade of the day. You couldn't get in on that, I don't think. But anyway, let's take a look. So 5 o'clock comes right here, 5 a.m. And I didn't take this, but I think if you were watching prices, then I think you could have taken this, because look, it just looks like we have this leg up and 2 legs of correction. And that's off the trend channel. So sorry about that. I should have had that drawn. So I think the fact that this is off the trend channel, it's close to the EMA, and you get, it looks like 2 legs of correction. I think you can go long there. At least expecting a scalp, but you get a little more than that. But if you're not comfortable doing that, you get a first failed second entry long with a good signal bar here. This is aggressive because this is not in the trend channel, so it's definitely aggressive. That ends up being a level of support. Here we're just chopping around at this point between the overnight highs and this level of support. Look, we make a double top. Kind of looks like a triple top. 1, 2, 3, but it's really just a 1 double top, and then you try and go higher once, twice, and I think you can take that. This is a lower high, but that's just a doji, so unfortunately I don't think you can take that, or else that would have been a really nice move down. So unfortunately you couldn't take that. We find support along the midline of the overnight highs and lows, and the breakout of this range area fails, as you can see, but then we try and go higher once and twice. So let's take a look at this, guys. So this is a second entry long, and I got trapped on this, and I would imagine a lot of people got trapped on this. So let's take a look at why this may have not worked. So what I'm thinking is we found resistance at the overnight highs, right? And look at how much price rejection we had right there. Yes, we did find support at the midline, and we didn't make it all the way down to the overnight lows, but I think that's what you have to take into account, is that this is a range day so far. And so this is not off a trend channel, okay? Here is our trend channel. We already had a break of that, move to a new high, and if you think this is the first break, well, you try and go higher once, and that failed. So I just don't think you should be going long when it's not a trend day, and this isn't off the trend line. Especially when there's this could be a level of resistance now, and I think that is what it acted as you can see here. So I got trapped. Don't beat yourself up if you got trapped. Just learn from that. So I think you could probably, that being the case, you could probably go short right there on a failed second entry long. That ends up being a good move. Here we're just chopping around. This looks like a second entry short, but this is in congestion, so let's mark that as aggressive. Second entry short. Yeah. And then, so we had this bounce off the midline here. So if you, and it looks like this is a level of support. So when we had that breakout, you might go long right there. But we get a first entry, second entry, and by this point, I'm looking at this as a level of resistance. So when we get this second entry, plenty of room back to the EMA. I like that. It's a second entry short. Failed breakout. I like that. And then if you want to be aggressive again, you can go long right here off of the midline. But if you're not buying that, you get a first, failed second entry short. That's really just a failed breakout of the range again, and it's off the midline. But this is really congested, so I probably would stay out of that. Here we look like we have congestion with an upward bias. And that's probably trapping a lot of people here. This is just a good signal bar that looks like a failed breakout, so I like that. But there is an upward bias to this. This looked like a failure, but there's just no setup. If it closed beneath the EMA, I probably would have taken that as just a failed breakout. You get a first, failed second entry long. Here is what I was looking at that as, but this is way too congested. So yeah, this scalped out, but I marked it because I shouldn't be taking those, and I did. So I don't like that. But here you get a failed breakout of congestion, a failed break lower, and all these people who went short on the failed second entry long, they're exiting their trade. So that's a nice trap. And then you get a first, second entry short. It's aggressive just because of the signal bar, but it is at the top of the range, and it's a second entry short. So I like that one. But it is aggressive. You got a doji for a signal bar. First, failed second entry. But really what I like about this one is it's off that level of resistance. That's what I like about that. Then we go higher, and all right, so guys, I felt really good about this entry, and unfortunately I walked away for like 2 minutes and missed this, so I couldn't enter it. But look, we get this leg up, okay? We get this leg up, and you get an overshoot that leads to a break. You get a close outside of it, a move to a new high, and then you get a lower high, all off of the overnight highs, okay? Take that. At least ride it back to the EMA. And look, it goes much further. I think you would have had like a, let's see, 15-point move easy, 61.75. You would have at least had a 12-point move. And really, you could have had a 17-point move. So I really like that, and I was glad I spotted that. But unfortunately, I walked away. I came in when like this bar was forming. So here we form some congestion at the midline, so understandable. It fails to break lower. It comes back up. First entry, second entry. That's aggressive because we're not too sure about this level, this congestion, but that is congestive right there. So I like that. You might have had a heart attack when it comes back, but it does eventually give you a scalp. There's room back to the EMA too. I like that too. This is just the first entry, but it's at that level, that important price level, and it's a really bearish signal bar, and it's super far from the EMA. So this is aggressive. Let's also look at the trend line. It also comes after an overshoot, so that might be a factor you consider. And then you wouldn't have had this, I don't think you would have had this trend channel drawn by this point. But as you can see, there's a midline there, and we get a first, failed second entry long. I like that because it closes beneath the EMA. It's also a second entry short. and it looks like it's going to go back into this congestion. So I like that, and that would get you a nice move as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't get you to the lows down here, but let's take a look here. We create this price level, okay? We come up short of the lows of the channel. We get a break. You test that price level once, and that's a second entry short, but I didn't like how it closed next to a doji, a couple dojis. So if you don't go short there, when you get that double test right there and it closes beneath the EMA, I think you have to take that. We haven't had a move to a new low yet, and look at that. And I think I actually took that in my practice account, and I looked away because I'm at work, and I couldn't get that runner. But that's another 44, at least a 10-point runner right there. And unfortunately, you can't take this. This is a second entry, but we don't know. I mean, we had a feeling we're going to test these lows, but we just don't know, and it's not a good enough signal bar. So that's what I saw today. Let's take a look at the trades I took. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't take this one. I think you could have taken that, though. But I did take this failed second entry short. And yeah, it gets you a few points. So it's not in congestion. It closes above the EMA. So there are things to like about this. Not the greatest trade, but there are things to like for sure. First, second entry. So I already talked about this one. This is a tough call, but we are in a range so far. We made this double top. So don't expect any gimmies. So this would be a gimme. On a runaway trend day, I would take this. But not on a range day. And look, this is congestive. Doji, doji, and our signal bar is actually a doji. All right, and then this second entry at a level of resistance, I like that. It also looks like a failed breakout, and that gets you a nice move. So those are the trades I took on my, what I consider my real sim account. Okay, I hope everyone had a blessed day, and I'll be back tomorrow.